Hi, everybody. Another Thursday night in March. Looking forward to seeing many of you in Roanoke. Just want to thank people who have sent in some questions, and I know how difficult it is to get a piece of paper and write them down. I'm not joking, and so I really appreciate it. This is one from Catherine Stewart from British Columbia. And she says, could you please reflect on this quote? And I am going to try and do that. The quote is this: when I look inside and see that I am nothing, that is wisdom. When I look inside and see that I am nothing, that is wisdom. When I look outside and see that I am everything, that is love. That is love. Sorry. When I look outside and see that I am everything, that is love. And between these two, my life flows. And this is from a Sri, if I can say it correctly, Nisargadatta Maharaj. It's a very interesting quote and a very, very easy to misunderstand it. And of course, you'll have your opinions and options on this one as normal, and as it should be. This is expressed by an individual who has a clear understanding of a fairly interesting level of, I would call it, let's say, spiritual interaction, very physical, emotional, and mental. And he's read a lot of books, and he's experienced a lot of things. And this is fascinating, because once you begin to understand what he's saying, you begin to allow yourself to have a few realizations. Number one is that he is able to see within himself, and he uses the words inside. I look inside and see that I am nothing. It can be taken two ways. He has perceived himself relative to the universe and found that he is much smaller than what a potential might be. That's one way it can be taken. The second way, he looks within himself, and he has reached a stage in his development where his emotional, his mental, and his very physically core personality orientation has been affected and touched by a higher state, in that truly, not intellectually, not just verbose, truly he has perceived that he's got nothing in his head, nothing in his body, and nothing. He is responding in a very nothing way. In other words, he is a silent individual internally. I can't really comment on whether this is something that he has come up with as a poet and an individual who is seeking deeper levels of consciousness, which we all are, of course. But it is, keep in mind two different ways of seeing. One, you perceive inside yourself that you are as you are seeing, and you see that you are nothing in that relevant state. What you see is a persona that is engaged, or an image that is engaged as, for example, being a spiritual person. No negation is there, none whatsoever. You see that, and you know that is not a facsimile of that which is way beyond your understanding. That in itself is a tremendous level. It's not a level to be talked about very much, because in that state, your personalization is not a rendered engagement with advertising your personality. It's a place where you know for sure, inside, if it is silent, not with respect to looking and seeing, but if it is silent, then you know you are that which is there for the use of a higher state. Oh, I did say use. Now, this is hard to allow to happen because we all want to be in charge of everything. It's natural in our world. Then the second part. Then I look outside and see that I am everything that is love. Because what begins to happen is, if you know that you are empty inside, and you are not assessing or judging anything inside, as much as you can because you're trained to do so, and you shift it into another state where you can actually recognize that another level of love can operate through you, and you will not interfere with it. Because you can't. It's not you in charge of you not interfering, like many of us have thought in our lives, and many speak that way, but it's, you cannot. You are engaged with another state, and you know that that state is pervasive throughout the universe, not only on this planet, throughout the universe. This is a big deal. A little bit, as a matter of fact, probably too big for us to allow ourselves to understand, because we might be able to hear it, try to make sense of it, but to live it. And he's living that in his poetic engagement with the definition of silence as love. That's phenomenal. The next piece is, in between these two, my life flows. What he is really talking about there is he does the will of that universal love. He engages with it, if indeed that maxim could be considered viable in his case. He engages with it for the good of others, not in relationship to a personality saying, I love everybody. It's not like that. It's more like love is engaging with him to help where love is needed more. Love in that particular definition is not necessarily comfortable with most of us, because that would mean loving in a manner that would be enabling to that person while that person is already in love with their personalization, their image of themselves, their images of themselves, which, by the way, most of us are. This is a beautiful maxim. It is one that is touched with not the intellect, the maxim, not the personalization and how great that writer may be, but the actual occurrence of an engagement with loving that is out of the realm of the personalization's ability to create. This is very fascinating. If you think about this, this is a study. These words are a study of something that has been realized by many, even in its rarity. Many who have engaged with that high state and have lived their life by it, perhaps in and out of it, but nonetheless by it in relationship to when it occurs, there is nothing that you can relate to that is yours. It is, the maximum is related directly to that love that flows in a universal manner, creating existence, one could say, or a field of love, one could say. And our great ability to utilize that field of love for the purpose of making an image in life the way you think you need to have it, and then defending it and keeping it there for the purpose that allows others to think that the image you create is extra special. Fundamentally, there's not much else in our level of function that we can do, while at the same time we can speak about it, engage, express verbally how that might be. But once it occurs experientially, the verbalization is diminished because it's sensate. It is internally an expression of loving that oozes out of an individual and through that individual, as opposed to from the individual personality. And that is, by the way, a very interesting thing, because from my perspective, you remember sages from East and West, wise philosophers, gentlemen, able spiritual folk, have always talked about know thyself. First level, know thyself. Get to know you. Don't lift it up. Don't put it down. Just say, oh my God, is that what I'm really like? Yeah, from time to time, this is how you are. From time to time, these are the images, whatever they may be, that you believe you need to be like to be valued in the world that relates to relative values. I realize that this is very difficult in our world, and how uncomfortable our world can be within our lives. And this is hurtful So in a kind of a way, unless you really listen to the words of this maxim, you'll be shifting into the discomfort that we all have participated in while living a life. And that's real for us, because it affects our structure as a personality, and that is what we have used that love for. Unknowingly, of course. In some cases, self-protective, knowingly, and even constructing images and trying to sell them to other people. Stuff like that. My guys, this is part of being on the planet Earth. This is the nature of the kind of structure that is an element of survival and function here on these planes. But we're talking about something different here. But interestingly enough, know thyself means something much wiser than a quick mumbling statement about it. It means you actually begin to see how you function. And you're shocked, because there is an element of so many things in us, so many emotions, acting subtly, expressing subtly within ourselves and how we externalize things. Stellman is not talking about personality externalization. He's engaging with an expression of flow, one could say, that operates through us. And we're lucky enough to notice, no offense to anybody who thinks they're just way beyond all, to notice softly, gently, wonderfully that flow that touches our hearts, that touches our minds, and allows us to function with our particular brain and nervous system as an observer of how we function, and understanding that this is the nature of a relationship on a planet that is developed to a certain degree and monitors that development based on shekels and things that they do better than somebody else. Normal stuff for us. It's not a good thing, bad thing. That's what we do. And that's what we will do. And in this particular case, in the relationship that we have with beginning to know ourselves, it leads towards, if you can get over the reaction that is instilled in us to self-protect what we do no matter what, or how we function, because we know it's right, more right than other people and how they function, this kind of thing. That actual love begins to shape up, and you begin to see that, okay, these are my anomalies, and this is what happens, and it's who I am, and I can try to clean that up according to how I've been trained to think it should be cleaned up. But that's not what he's talking about. That is initial steps wondrous as they are, and you need to think of it that way, no offense, but any attempt to try and have a different kind of balance other than the one that we've already constructed in your life is very difficult. So any kind of attempt to understand you is wondrous. So say the sages of East and West. Get to know you so that when you do, there's a stretch in there within the personas structure, all these great archetypes that we use all the time for other people's purposes or our purposes. There's a stretch in there, and you begin to notice something beyond it. But it's in you at the same time. You still care for you in the ways that you need to care for you so that you feel comfortable with you. And if you don't, it's because you're using trickery. You're protecting yourself by criticizing yourself. And that means if you criticize yourself, you're okay because you see it first. If you use that in a positive way, then you can see you where you would like to be somehow different, a little bit different somehow, but still like to keep some of that other stuff. And be a little bit different if you can. But if you are, what will begin to occur? You'll, from time to time, have just a sliver of strange, caring feeling that comes over you, and you don't know where it comes from. That is a caring of the love that's you're already using to enable you to function as an individual, whatever that way would be, linking up the higher state. And that's what he means when you perceive it on the outside. It means not our personality stuff. It means you are seeing through the personality a love that links within to out, or out to in. And there is a oneness in it. It's very beautiful. You can have those experiences from time to time. And if you do, you can watch your personality styles want to crawl back into what they need to be comforted by the style, because that style comforted us in its expression in our life somehow. So therefore we will reiterate the style, often unknown to us, because it's not normal to be able to see how you function internally. And it's little by little is how we can do that, because if we do it too quickly, we'll begin to construct additional critical styles where we put ourselves in that position, a down position, because we're bad, because you have some definitions of, you know what an adult says. His adult says, you're good, you're bad. A real mature adult that he's talking about doesn't say that. No matter what it says, it's still loving, because it focuses on the flow of love as it's engaging with life. First cause, the flow. Second cause, what needs to be expressed in a dialogue relating to others or the self. A little complicated answer, but it's very interesting. One could say that somehow it almost sounds like our personalities are bad and we should clean them up. No, our personalities are there because the methods that you used were valuable to you during your engagement with life as you continued through the ages of your particular relationship with this particular social structure or some other social structure. And it made you feel comforted. He's talking about being comforted in a different level. And I've heard or even read material that was similar to this, but he says it very, very well. That Sri Nisan, Nisan, Gadatta, Gadatta, Maharaj. It's a kind of a title. So this might be a question that you might consider thinking about. Not in any kind of a way that relates to, oh, you better understand this. No. Just thinking about. Because our process of thinking is emotional, yeah, but has a sense of once you've heard something, then you kind of figured it all out. Sometimes maxims like this should be on our refrigerators, along with pictures of those that we care for. Just so we can remind ourselves and smile every now and then and wonder, which is a good thing, about whether it would be okay to express loving not with your mouth, but through that flow operating through you for a purpose that would wish and want every living being to be the same, in the same flow, for a purpose that related to helping them to grow without them knowing where the help was coming from. This is a kind of an interesting segue into that particular kind of background. I wish you all well with that one. I think that is not an easy one to understand. I think we all understand it a little bit, but being there is a totally different type of thing than a justification of a personality thinking they've got it figured out. There's no figuring in this. No figuring in this. It is experiential. It's an occurrence. Go slow. Continue. As you do these things gently, you will notice from time to time different things occurring. Hopefully in a subtle but loving manner. Thank you, Gavin. This is one from Mary Lou in Ottawa. In the presence of an able person, why would one's heart leap? Well, okay. In this one, I would suggest that if we had that kind of an experience, that we try to break it down in relationship to what we think we've learned over the last number of years. If another person is valued, it could be, you might think that this person is valuable. It might make your heart stimulate. It could be a personality thing. You might be in a little bit of awe around that person if you had that kind of thing. And that would be your own personality responding. Yes, I would agree. But also it could be an aspect of a center, a heart center, flowing from that person or into you from that person that might be related to his or her root center, his or her, often the root center, by the way, but his or her root center, his or her gonad center, his or her solar plexus. Because the ingredients that we are a part of in this social structure that we have is involved with many people at different levels of engagement. Not always conscious, but sometimes conscious. If you could possibly allow your responses to be seen by you, and in this case, if this is your experience, then what you saw was it affected your heart center. Enjoy it. Just be there. Think of it as, hopefully that's helping my heart center. If it is, it means an aspect of your heart center may be on part of the root center, part of the gonad center, part of the solar plexus. No negation there. It's all good. And it would be kind of a precursor to maybe deepening that center and its engagement with the lower centers. One trick that you can use, or one thing you can do, let me go there first, is just look at it and say, good. That's it. Nothing else. Yeah. If you have something else going on there, then this is how you dramatize the occurrence. Is that okay? Absolutely. But no, that's how you dramatize the occurrence. So you're learning something about you. Wonderful. Fantastic. You know that this is part of your engagement with background, and this is, or it might be something slightly different than that. Then no, this is different than what I normally would be involved with. Personalities are always engaged with energy from other people. Now this we've talked about, but once you begin to notice it and say, okay, and you don't judge it, you're just noticing it. So you could say, one personality stimulates your solar plexus so much, hear the drama, so much that it's very uncomfortable for you. Yeah, you could say that. Or you could also say that you can't handle yet a lot of solar plexus of a certain kind, but you're growing, and it may have touched you in a way that may help you to broaden out your capacity to handle energy in that solar plexus center. These are personality level structures, or they could be different level structures. You will not know that. But your personality will have an opinion about it. That's a guarantee. That's why we have these things. We've constructed a tool for the benefit of our engaging with the world. So we come up with opinions that are valued, as far as we're concerned, about what is going on. Because that helps us to counter what we think shouldn't be happening to us, or shouldn't be happening, period. We come up with all kinds of things, basically, because there's all kinds of things to come up with. No negativity, it's just there, perceiving. So, also, I looked at the first part first, of course. Also, an aspect of a heart center can be linked to something common between two people. It doesn't mean, although that's the way we interpret often, doesn't mean you love them. They're turning the heart center on. It's something similar to turning the gonad center on. When we're kids, when the gonad center comes on, we only have one way of thinking about that. It's either, oh my God, that's awful, or oh my God, that's interesting. Anyway, if you're really totally, let's say, so spiritual that you would never say anything like that, then you're missing your understanding of what you really are like normally. As a human being, because in the species, these things are functional. These centers are functional to a certain degree relative to our personifications of us as individuals and others as individuals. But we don't always think about this thing as everyone is an energy being. Therefore, they are emitting whatever is on in them towards another. But it may be on just a little tiny bit, but we don't know that. And our systematic response to something is, in a kind of a way, it gives us an idea that something is occurring. It means, I would say, if you had this experience, your awareness is that you can perceive that center wherever it operates in you. But if it happened in you and you were stimulated in the heart, you likely wouldn't go down to figure out what else was on in your body. You would be engaging like a normal human being and saying, oh, my heart center is on, period. It's a personality dialogue. You are talking to you. As you experience these things, be okay with dialoguing and saying, and I wonder where else that's coming from. Within seconds, you will begin to have a response there. Careful with this. If you don't like the person, even though your heart center comes on, if you don't like the person, you're going to have an opinion about where that must be coming from. I'm not talking about opinions here. This is why it's so subtle, but we are interactive with our personality styles, our personas, so that we can come up with something and we're talking to ourselves. Ourself is talking to ourselves. I know that this must be something there because that's why. And we go on. This is not negative. This is normal. Because we need that comforting dialogue to reassure ourselves that what we are speaking about must be true because we're saying it. Now, we don't realize that that's what's going on, but it really basically amounts to that. Catch it if you can. and then realize there might be something else that's going on that you don't know of. It doesn't throw away or deter or decimate the concept of the personality being right all the time, because the personality won't let that happen. But it does give the possibility of options. If it does happen to be a heart center that's engaging within itself, and that can happen in our world, then it's there for a reason, and that's to help you. Not to elevate the individual when it happens. The individual could be elevated because that's part of his or her growth. And they can even learn how to transmit it so that your heart does flip around. That's still personality orientation. And that's part of our continued relationship with growing, even in the heart center, even in the brow center. There can be a kind of personalized control that can be cultivated. And this is nothing but learning on the part of the other. It makes them, holds them in a position related to the personalization world. I would submit, honestly, that probably every growing person who encounters energetic engagement goes through this period of time where there is personalization, because they want to check it out to see whether it's really real. Hopefully, they find out it is, and they take a vow within themselves, never telling anybody, of course, that they will never do that again. Or certainly not very often. Through that particular period of growing. I try to be as open as I can with this. And sometimes the more open you try to be, with the kind of honest logic, the more people don't like the sound of it. And I can't really blame them either. None of us are perfect. So remember that particular piece. If you're an observer in this, remember that you'll have responses that are not as calm as you can be, and you'll do things that, because you have within you a schema that relates, so-and-so is higher than so-and-so, and that's better, and this is not. All of this stuff is where we are here on this planet. It's as much in the spiritual realm, so-called spiritual realms. What I'm talking about, that is our versions of spiritual realms. But in the real versions of spiritual realms, it doesn't exist. It's more like teamwork. How can we help? How can we help in this way? How can we help in that way? Don't want to do it too quickly, because if that happens, then the personality will get a hold of it and it'll just build and build and build and build. And you won't be able to talk to them because they can't let go. Yeah, and that has happened. And will likely happen again. Trying to be wise in the way of the last question is really difficult, because it's hard to slow that down into zero or very quiet, so it's not impacting on you every day of your life. But it does impact on you every day of your life because that's how we are. Don't get nervous. Keep going because that is a wonderful thing. That I'm talking about is the increased awareness and the hope that you can let go and deepen your understanding of what is actually occurring inside of you. Bit by bit. So many levels of learning we all are going through. I just want to see, Mary Lou, if there's something that I might have left out. It's not a linear logic, as you probably figured out by now. And what you come up with is normally linear relative to a personality style. We all do the same thing, so there's nothing negative about that. The other subtle thing is when a center comes on that you're normally not used to, it could be the brow, the throat, the heart, the crown, anywhere. In the old traditions, the root center had to begin to engage because it was involved with all of our material planes and the matter world at a higher level. It's very interesting. So it includes our personality. So the sages used to say, well, if that root center can come to the top of your head, you will have at least begun to move towards an understanding that is not yours. What a terrible thing to say out loud. Because an understanding that is not currently yours means change. So any shift and opening will affect that which was cultivated before through these centers to allow you to express through that energy that we often call loving or intensity or willfulness or love for this or that. And it will shift a bit. It'll feel a little awkward from time to time. The act of assessing yourself or others the way you normally do. Normally do is a big deal. Because normally do is related directly to a conglomerate of interactions with the world. A tremendous amount of them. Every second of your life. Every second of your learning process. All the things you do or don't do. What's attached to them? Your value is attached to them. And therefore you construct an image of value, one could say. And if that changes, it can be uncomfortable. So growing can be uncomfortable in that change is occurring. And if your focus is only on the personality aspect and it's changing, then you will bring to bear tremendous defenses to ward off any shift out of a zone that makes you feel okay, until you begin to realize that some of that zone also after a few days, weeks, years will make you feel okay, comforted in a different way, in a more allowing or almost embracing a manner. And you're moving through change again for the purpose of preparation for the next level of function or change. No negativity attached to that at all. But the response is that the personality can respond tremendously quickly out of fear. And many of us, and most of us, have been brought up in the throes of fear. I don't mean that horrific. I mean in not being able to measure up to some system that is relevant in our world. That's why we have these things that we can accumulate, whatever it is, education, words, money, dogs, cats. It's a way of thinking that you are valuable. And that is, even though I'm talking about that, it's like like how I seem to be talking about. It's not negative. It's more like that is making me comfortable within myself. I am comforting myself by doing so. We can't go deep enough to ask why you need to be comforted. Well, those in my past said, this is the way to do it, and if I don't do it that way, I will not be loved by them. And they never said a word of that. It's all implication. Kind of a pseudo-loving process. I must be like this. I must bring attention to those things. Otherwise, I will never be loved by anybody. That's kind of a different thing. And it's kind of into the realm of this question that you're asking, Mary Lou, and also the last one in relationship to seeing inside that you are not mystified. Well, maybe it's the wrong word. You are not worried about your personalization. You look inside and you are. There is nothing there that you could see that would be extra good, extra bad. But that's kind of a highly spiritualized way of looking at that kind of verbalization. The other is kind of just a normal thing that happens in our growing process, and that's a wonderful thing. So I wish you well with that, and I think we're going to start to meditate now. We usually meditate from 50 minutes to an hour, roughly in there. And hopefully you'll be able to hear some music, and I will just go away, at least in a picture anyway. Take care, everybody.
Namastasye, 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 namo namaha. Mamba Lalita Devi Jagadambe Janani Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha Tvam Ananda Sagari Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha Sarvamangala-mangalye Shive sarvartha-sadhike Sharanye Triambake Devi स्वरूपाये नमो नमः वज्रमाणिक्यकटककिरीटाये नमो नमः कस्तूरीतिलकोलासनिटिलाये नमो नमः हस्वरेखाङ्कितलसन्मस्तकाये नमो नमः लोचनाये नमो नमः शरच्चाम्पेयपुष्पाभनासिकाये नमो नमः लसत्काञ्चनतातङ्कयुगलाये नमो नमः मणिदर्पणसङ्काशकपोलाये नमो नमः ताम्बूलपूरितस्मेरवदनाये नमो नमः सुपक्वदादिनी बीजरदनाये नमो नमः कम्बुपूगसमुच्चाय कन्दराये नमो नमः स्थूलमुक्तापलोदारसुहाराये नमो नमः गिरीशपथमाङ्गल्यमङ्गलाये नमो नमः कुशलसत्कराब्जाये नमो नमः पद्मकैरावमन्दारसुमालिन्ये नमो नमः Shringaramध्यamaye Namo Namaha Divyabhushanasandroharanjitaye Namo Namaha
Now we'll just begin to do the balancing and the grounding. And good night, everybody.